These classics brought unique perspectives and changed the horror game forever. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 innovative horror movies that did something brand new.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at those great horror films that changed formulas, brought a creative spin to the genre, and inspired so many. 2 words, spoiler alert.
They'll see, and they'll know, and they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Number 10, The Evil Dead. Crafted in a style that still resonates today, this no-budget DIY 80s classic inspired a legion of followers to pick up their cameras and put their vision on film, with or without the resources. The dark humor and creative makeup effects paved the way for so much 80s horror cinema.
One by one we will take you.
Sam Raimi's gruesome story single-handedly created the cabin in the woods genre, but his fearless filmmaking attitude showed the world that gritty indie films with heaps of imagination can become worldwide phenomena. It clearly helps to have buckets of blood. Number 9, Nosferatu. It's dizzying to think that a full-length movie this terrifying was made almost a century ago. While not the first horror flick ever made, it is certainly the first feature-length one to be put on the silver screen this effectively. The gothic settings, the shadowy figures, the gruesome makeup, audiences had never seen anything like this before. The Germans had created surreal cinematic expressionism, and Nosferatu became almost synonymous with gothic silent horror. And although the story was directly lifted from Bram Stoker's Dracula, moviegoers were too busy being horrified to worry or care. Number 8, Saw.
I want to play a game.
Horror trends come in bloody waves, and following the terrible resurgence of cheesy slasher films in the late 90s, audiences were looking for even more gruesome entertainment. Enter the delightful world of torture porn, brought to us thanks to a little indie film known as Saw.
Congratulations, you are still alive.
The surprise popularity of the cheaply produced fan favorite, with its brutal story and shocking ending, paved the way for a decade's worth of controversial hits. It not only created a huge franchise, but also taught studios that smartly written horror films can be economically made and fun, and mainstream audiences will not shy away from gore.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive. But not you. Not anymore.
Number 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Miss me?
Leave it to Wes Craven to constantly change up the horror genre. When masked killers were already getting stale in 1984, he gave us Freddy. When Freddy himself was becoming a bore, Craven turned his own franchise on its head and gave us New Nightmare, a meta-horror film where the idea of Freddy seeps into the real life of the actors and creators of the series.
This is still a script we're talking about, right, Wes?
Although he again reinvented the genre soon after with Scream, another meta-classic, New Nightmare was praised for its uniqueness. Craven thankfully broke from dying trends and dared to create something new.
Pick a pet. What a rough rat, bitch.
Number 6, Halloween.
And are you all right?
While the honor for creating the slasher genre goes to other films, like the Italian giallo Blood and Black Lace, John Carpenter brought the world something wholly unique: the savage but muted experience of a slow stalking killer.
Tommy, please! Tommy, hurry up! Tommy, please!
The later sequels establish a backstory and motive for Michael Myers, but this faceless, unrelenting killer initially had a horrifying and disturbing lack of apparent motive. The opening sequence, unveiling the blank face of a young murderer, shocked audiences to their very cores.
Michael?
The popularity of Halloween spawned its own unending franchise, with innumerable knockoffs and holiday-themed thrillers. Number 5. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Sally, I hear something. Stop! Stop!
The Exorcist, just a year prior to this entry, prepared audiences for a new horizon of brutal horror realism. However, these were still supernatural terrors. Nobody was prepared for Tobe Hooper's vision of violent realism.
You like this, Dave?
Anyone, well, sorta, can see themselves falling prey to a cannibalistic family of crazies, or at least being chased by a chainsaw-wielding maniac. Innovative in more ways than we give it credit for, the original Massacre popularized the teenagers in peril motif, as well as using the based on a true story opening, which can still, to this day, make any horror movie seem even scarier. Number 4. Night of the Living Dead.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Some of you may be tired of seeing zombies everywhere, but they are enduring movie and TV monsters, and it's all thanks to the genius of this little passion project. Before 1968, the term zombie meant something different, usually a sometimes dead sleepwalker controlled by a voodoo priest. Although 28 Days Later made them more aggressive, our slow, lurking, decomposing, brain-eating undead made their first appearance in George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Unique for its underlying message about race, and for featuring the first black hero in a horror movie, it is still analyzed and praised half a century later.
All right, Vince, hit him in the head, right between the eyes. Good shot.
Number 3. The Blair Witch Project.
I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open them.
We know that the Blair Witch Project is far from being the first use of found footage, with that honor going to the equally classic Cannibal Holocaust. However, the way the found footage method was brilliantly used to elevate the tension in the film and innovatively exploited to create buzz in its sly viral marketing campaign was beyond anything audiences had encountered before.
Put the camera down, this is not funny.
Coming.
This is...
Do I look like I'm laughing at all?
The film's bare, minimalist approach allowed the crew to save money on lavish effects and equipment. This, unfortunately, inspired studios to later cut corners and make cheap knockoffs. Number 2. Alien. Horror was experiencing a resurgence in mainstream cinema by the late 70s, and slasher films were becoming a huge commodity. So, what was the next evolutionary stage at that point? Slasher in space, of course. Audiences, all fired up to see another space epic on the big screen, were shocked, horrified, and thrilled to find an amalgamation of a classic sci-fi monster movie with a modern stock-and-kill thriller.
Dallas?
What's more, Alien broke the convention of what an on-screen alien looked like. Not to mention, it featured a powerful, brave, and intelligent heroine audiences could really root for.
Mother! I've turned the cooling unit back on! Mother!
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Number 1. Psycho.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
Already a world-renowned master of suspense, Alfred Hitchcock knew he had to not just break the mold, but smash that bad boy into a million pieces and flush it down the toilet. Enter a deranged killer, brutal on-screen deaths, and psycho-sexual stalking. The overshadowed Peeping Tom may have covered similar ground, but Psycho changed everything by reaching the mass audience. A campaign was even launched to keep moviegoers from entering theaters too late. You know, because of the whole killing the main character early in the film thing. And warning audiences about revealing the twist ending was another innovation in viral marketing.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.